Nowadays, everyone knows Kevin Hart, but this wasn't always the case. He went through his fair share of hardship, adversity, and failure before he was able to become the wildly successful comedian, actor, and producer that we all enjoy watching today. And now that he's made it big in Hollywood, earned a huge amount of recognition, and accumulated a considerable amount of wealth for himself. In today's video, we are here to unveil the truth about Kevin Hart's Hollywood success that no one knows. So don't go anywhere and watch the video till the end. Also, if this is your first time visiting our channel, click the subscribe button and keep yourself updated. Let's get right into Kevin Hart's motivational tale, so you can discover how he went from being a shoe salesman to one of the highest paid entertainers in the world. On July 6, 1979, Kevin Hart was born in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, into what many people would consider a difficult home environment. Hart was essentially raised by his mother because his father, who struggled with alcoholism, drug addiction, and a pattern of frequent detention, was rarely present. Hart and his sibling would eventually have to make do without their father in one of the toughest communities, with only one devoted parent at the helm after his mother restricted their time with him due to his negative influence, stealing money from the family, coming around the kids high, being reckless, etc. The mother of Kevin Hart was a devout woman who had a good head on her shoulders. She was the type of mother who constantly pushed her children to be better versions of themselves and set lofty goals, and work hard to achieve them. Along with giving her children sound advice, she also set a good example by constantly working to advance her education, broaden her knowledge, and advance her career. Hart would turn to comedy to help him deal with his troubled upbringing and the gloomy atmosphere in his home. He would leverage much of the trauma he experienced in his younger years into much of his early comedic material. As a fan of stand-up comedy from a young age, Kevin Hart would eventually give his dream a shot once he graduated high school. The beginning of Kevin Hart's career as a stand-up comedian will be difficult. Hart was starting to have a very successful career as a shoe salesman at the age of 18. He was even given the chance to change his career with Nike. He declined the offer. Instead, it was a signal for him to turn to his true passion, comedy. Even though it took him a little longer to achieve his objectives, Kevin Hart had the guts to take a huge risk, and it paid off. He tried performing on stage for the first time in Philadelphia after some of his coworkers told him about the opportunity and urged him to try it. But the performance was a disaster. Then he relocated to New York for performances and started looking for gigs in Massachusetts. Hart would travel from Philadelphia to New York for almost 2 hours every day to gain attention at the major New York comedy clubs. Hart was moving, but he was having trouble at first. His act was not received well, as he was booed off the stage and chicken was thrown at him. Eventually, despite Hart's best efforts, including working a second job as a shoe salesman, he fell behind on his rent and faced eviction. Luckily, his mother had faith in him and supported him as he recovered. She helped Hart by covering his rent for an entire year as he worked to establish himself, on the understanding that if things didn't work out after this trial period, he would attend college. Fortunately for Hart and all of his fans, he was determined to become well-known, both now and in the future. Kevin continued to perform shows despite the awkward moments, taunts, and failed performances. And with every poor joke and every complete flop show, he methodically and slowly practiced his craft. Things changed for Hart when he realized his strategy of trying to be like every other famous comedian wasn't working. The world of comedy began to take notice of Kevin Hart's comedy, and it wasn't long before his acts began to be imitated before his fame took off. Hart, however, wanted to be more than a stand-up comedian. He also desired to enter Hollywood and pursue a career as a comedic actor. He thus took initiative and made the move. Eventually, Hart was cast in his first motion picture, Paper Soldiers. He then achieved airtime for a brief pilot in 2001 that wasn't picked up. 3 years later, he was given his sitcom called The Big House. However, it would only run for 6 episodes, making it a very short-lived program. Hart didn't give up though. Even though the plug was pulled on his sitcom, he didn't quit. He continued to pursue his comedic career while waiting for his next big Hollywood break, performing stand-up all over the country and taking on bit parts in several films, including Scary Movie 3 and 4, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Barbershop, and Little Fockers. But after a while, all those small roles began to grow into medium-sized roles, And as he continued to play more and more roles, bigger opportunities began to present themselves. Since then, he has continued to be active. Hart has amassed a respectable multi-million-dollar fortune for himself, with 96 and counting acting credits to his name. In addition, he founded Heartbeat, a rapidly expanding multi-million-dollar media company. Hart is an expert on the subject of success. Kevin Hart followed his passion to become a world-class entertainer. But for him to achieve the enormous success he now enjoys, more than just passion was required. It could be argued that Kevin Hart's talent for comedy and strong work ethic are both contributing factors to his success. He does, however, have his own opinion about what specifically made him successful. This is the reason Kevin Hart was successful. In his own words, Kevin Hart persevered despite setbacks and opposition. To achieve success, Kevin Hart did more than just wish for it. Hart's success makes a case for using social media in marketing campaigns. On websites like YouTube and Twitter, he frequently interacts with his followers by sharing content and messaging them. Due to his involvement in every aspect of his online activities, he also doesn't allow an assistant to manage his social media accounts. Kevin wants his followers to feel invested in his endeavors. He once said, "I chose to make them part of my journey." Hart continued to put his attention toward improving as an artist even after he attained the pinnacle of his profession. Despite early failures, this has been a theme throughout his career. When he first started performing stand-up comedy, he frequently stuck to cliché jokes that didn't offer anything fresh. The majority of Kevin's jokes, he said, are based on white people do this and black people do that. His act is now among the most original and creative in the comedy industry, more than 10 years later. In the past, Kevin Hart had to go through a traumatic divorce and watch his father struggle with drug addiction. His professional life was not always filled with acclaim and admiration. He was frequently booed off the stage, and once a heckler threw a half-eaten chicken wing at him. However, he never allowed these unfortunate events to deter him. Instead, Kevin decided to incorporate them into his act, which was a very wise choice. Some of Kevin Hart's funniest works parody his own experiences, which is a fantastic way to make something bad into something good. Kevin encourages others to be honest about their feelings and experiences. That was all for today's video. Tell us your views in the comment section. Also, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give a thumbs up to this video. And if you are new to the channel, remember to subscribe to the channel for more amazing videos. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. We'll see you soon in the next video.